But look, in terms of the game this weekend, Everton, 17th in the league. They know they need every single point. They need to scrap and fight for every single point coming their way. The way they're playing football under Lampard, do you think that maybe plays into the way we play our game?
Not the way they played against Man City, I don't think it does, because they were resolute in that game and they played really solidly. They didn't have too many chances, but they made sure they restricted Man City as much as possible. They didn't give them an inch. And if they come to...
Did they sit in a low block against Man City?
Yeah, pretty you have to, don't you, when you play Man City? Except if you're like Liverpool, where you have the team and the tactics to press high.
Or if you Leeds, you don't mind getting battered.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to have to do that. They were very resolute. I can't remember if they played three at the back or not, but they were very compact and they didn't allow C any space. If they do that to us, it's going to be very, very difficult. And Man City have the defenders to cope with Everton on the counter attacks. Even them, they nearly conceded a draw. They were very lucky to get away with it with a penalty.
They played 3 at the back. They played 4.
Okay, yesterday they played 3 at the back.
Oh, did they? Against Boreham Wood?
Yeah, against the Wood. They played 4 at the back, and they have good players in the final third. Like they got Richarlison, Doucouré. I don't know if Calvert-Lewin's fit. I know he didn't play yesterday, and I don't think he played against City either. But is he out? 50%, so he might be fit. Van den Beek. Very good player, decision making the final third.
Van den Beek is also
playing really well.
Yeah, come on a bit since going to Everton, and I think Man U are probably thinking, well, why don't we play him a bit more? Because he's playing at a really high level at the moment, isn't he?
I mean, look, it's only early days, but he's had a good start. He showed
more at Everton than he has because he never got the chances.
Yeah, and he's playing in a different role. At Man United, he was thought of as a player who has to play in Bruno's role in number 10, but he's kind of playing a bit deeper. For Everton in a more number 6 in a double pivot role, and he's being like that little maestro in the centre, which that he said he can play that role, and he's performing very well. Obviously, Dele Alli's there, so the problem is when teams like Everton are in this position, they usually find a new level of performance because when it's Norwich or when it's Watford or teams like that, they don't. They need to scrap, but they don't have the quality to fight their way out of it. Everton do.
Yeah.
Everton have that. They have the quality to put in performances and get results. They should never be 17th of that squad. Of course they shouldn't. We know they're in a false position. Like they've got a much better team, for example, than Leeds. The only difference between them and why Leeds are above them at the moment is, because Leeds play that more offensive role. They which probably gets them more wins.
They got a much better squad than someone like Crystal Palace, and they're sitting in 11th.
Yeah, Palace, Brentford, like they got much better squads. So like with Lampard now at the helm, it's all about them getting themselves right, and they seem to be on the right track. Although I do believe they've now lost 3 out of 4 games since Lampard's come. So they know this game they can't make that 4 out of 5. They know they can't. So I'm worried, to be honest, about this game. I'm worried about us being able to keep Everton out whilst also breaking them down when they're going to be pretty hard and resolute to break down. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be really difficult. And especially with players like Doucouré and Van den Beek in the centre. And if our centre mids are still out, if Bentancur's not back, and if Skip's not back, it's going to be very hard to deal with those two, especially Doucouré, because with his energy, and with Winks in the centre, can I see Winks being able to deal with him? I don't know.
Unless a Bentancur is back. I mean, if Bentancur is back and I don't expect Ollie Skip to be back, but I think Bentancur could be the one that is back. If he's back, do you think that's a big plus for us?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a massive plus for us because he, first of all, defensively, he's a lot more solid. He's he puts in a lot more challenges. He gets involved a lot more than Winks
as well.
He gets a lot more involved in the challenge than Winks and closer to the opposition. You saw that against City. You've seen that against good opposition. So definitely that would help against the likes of Doucouré, and it would hopefully stop Van den Beek from being able to dominate the game on the ball. And also on the ball, he's a lot more composed, isn't he? I know he can dawdle a few times. He's done that. But I think if you allow him to break the press, if you allow him time and space on the ball, he can pick out a pass, and he has quality. And you saw that move against Man City. He was like the hub, like that one-touch passing move. He was like the hub of that passing move. He was moving all around the place. It was hard to track and deal with. So he can be vital. Doesn't mean just because he's playing, I believe we're gonna it's going to be like a completely different kind of performance. But I believe having him in the centre definitely alleviates the threats that they'll have down the centre. But still, they'll have people like Richarlison in the final third. And if they're on the counter-attack, if they are able to get him into space, which I'm worried about, then they could get some joy there. But on the flip side, if we approach this differently potentially, if we maybe concede a bit of control, and maybe we try and extract as much space as possible in their half, then I can see us getting a bit more joy, because I don't think Everton are that great.
Lull them into a false sense of security.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe give them a bit more possession, and maybe that could be something we can. That could be a better situation, because I don't think their defence is that great. As much as they did well against City, I think I know with Mina out, there's like Michael Keane, you've got Holgate, Coleman and Kenny on the wing backs, or Mikalenko if he's fit. That could be got at 100%. We have the quality to hurt that, especially with the front three we have in Kulu, Kane and Son. We definitely can hurt that back four.
Yeah, and when you're looking at Frank Lampard since he's come in to Everton, you usually see a manager bounce. You haven't really seen that Everton as of yet. They've had 2 away games since Lampard's come in, against Newcastle and against Southampton. They've lost both of them, 3-1 to Newcastle and 2-0 to Southampton. I mean, what do you reckon it is about Everton? Why aren't we seeing this kind of new manager bounce, which you do see more often than not when a new manager comes in? And why hasn't Lampard really got to grips with things yet at Everton?
Well, who did they beat? They beat Brentford in the FA Cup, and then they beat
Leeds.
They beat, everyone beats Leeds, don't they?
That's the only team he's beaten so far at Everton.
Yeah. First of all, Southampton in great form.
And so Newcastle.
So they're in their own right, like entitled to their own form and their bounce. Like Everton have no right to just turn up in those games and get all 3 points. And obviously against Newcastle they took the lead, but Newcastle came up on top, and they've shown recently Newcastle that they're doing their best to make sure they're clear of the danger zone before the end of the season, and they've made some good signings, and they turned up on the day and they were much better than Everton. I have to say they deserved the victory. Southampton, and as I've said, they're in really good form, really good attacking team as well, with the tactics Hasenhüttl plays. Like if you're not getting to grips with them early on, they can physically overwhelm you, and they've done that for a few teams now. Then exactly how they overwhelmed us, especially in that first half. Like there could have been 3 or 4 in that first half. The way they were peppering us and just relentlessly getting at us, and I don't think Everton are going to be up to speed so soon within the first few weeks, so they will be able to cope with that immediately. I reckon probably Rafa's tactics might have been more suited to that kind of game than the way Lampard likes to play. I think, who was the other game they lost to? City. Obviously, they were very unlucky in that game. They should have had a penalty. Should have been 1-1, really. They didn't concede too many amazing chances. There was a bad mistake at the back that cost them, and gave Foden the goal. So I wouldn't say he's like. It's difficult to say he's not getting to grips with it. I think he's trying his best, but it's a difficult job. It's not easy. Those aren't easy games.
I accept that, but with the quality they have in the squad, you would expect some sort of bounce when Lampard came in.
Before Lampard came in, they had lost 8 of 9 games or something.
Yeah, they had just lost.
Only Arsenal they had
won. Had 3 back-to-back losses to Brighton, Norwich, and Aston Villa.
Yeah, before then though, they went on a very long stretch of losses and only beating Arsenal.
Yeah, very long actually.
So it's not going to flip a switch just like that. Just because you get a new manager doesn't mean you're a new team now. These things take a bit of time, and also the signings need to bed in. Van der Beek and Dele Alli need to get involved. I know Van der Beek's playing quite well, but they need to start learning how Lampard wants to play. Calvert-Lewin hasn't played every game, I don't think, under Lampard. I think they need to get him back. I think he's been injured a bit.
Yeah, he has.
So that's a massive one, because if they have him and Richarlison there, that's a big help. Because if it's just one of them, then you can just pull a lot of your resources onto Richarlison, and that would be a big help. And also, Doucouré's only just come back. I think his first appearance against City for a while, so he's had a lot of things to deal with. It's not easy, and I would give him time to get things right. And I don't think they've played that badly. I know Southampton, they were battered, I think, and they were easily beaten. But Newcastle, they were the worst team, but they had their chances. And City, they put in a good performance, and they beat Leeds and beat Brentford in the Cup. So it's not been all bad. And you've got to remember, he's coming into a team who are on a mad run of losses. So it doesn't surprise me that he's struggling early doors.
Yeah, fair enough. When you're looking at the head-to-head between Everton and Tottenham, obviously last year at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium,
wow, yeah, bad record.
They came and beat us 1-0, didn't they, last year? Earlier on this year, in Antonio's first game, it was 0-0. So these games between Spurs and Everton not really throwing up many goals. Obviously, you had that game in the FA Cup last year that did throw up a lot of goals.
That was mental.
That was probably one of our better performances of the season last year against Everton at Goodison in the FA Cup under Jose. But I think that whenever Spurs and Everton do come head-to-head, it is usually quite a good open game of football, even though the scorelines don't really suggest that.
Yeah, usually Everton see Tottenham as a game they could win, and obviously Tottenham see Everton as definitely potential points. So I think that's why, Everton don't see Tottenham as like United or City or Chelsea or Liverpool.
They see us as equals.
Exactly. So they always come to the lane thinking we can get something here. So they always open up a bit, and maybe they'll feel like that against us on Monday.
Lampard will know full well how this Tottenham team is struggling at the moment against compact teams, against teams that let us have time and space on the ball. So I fully expect Lampard to play into that and maybe try and let us have some time on the ball to break them down, because they know that we're not successful at doing that at the moment.
Yeah, and that's what I'm worried about. The only thing is, will they be able to rely? I know they played well against City, but can they rely on that defence to hold strong? Probably, considering how we have struggled against the likes of Burnley and the likes of and Middlesbrough and stuff, when defences have been very aggressive against us. But I don't see Everton's. The problem with Everton is not their back line. I don't see that back line as being particularly aggressive and physically strong. I think they could be got at. But the problem for me is that they got Doucouré and Allen shielding that back four, then I see big problems. And then all of a sudden you need your midfielders to step up and break the lines. And if we don't have Bentancur there, who also isn't the best ball traveller anyway, who do we really have in central midfield who's going to pick up the ball, get past someone, then open up space for other players? We don't have anyone. We just don't have that man. The only person in the squad really who can maybe do that is maybe Kulu, from what I've seen. But I don't. Even him, he's physically strong. He can hold off players, but like down the centre, he likes space to run into when he's doing that. He's not the kind of player to run into tight spaces. The only players we've got rid of. So I don't. That's what we need. How like someone who's not scared to pick up the ball, take people on in central areas and not be worried about losing it, and actually have the quality to get past people, because we have people who maybe have the confidence but not the quality.
It's mad to me. It's absolutely mad to me the way we're talking at the moment, and it's completely right why we're talking about this. But we're talking about a bang out of form Everton side, 17th in the league, who are in the relegation zone for some parts of that Burnley game before the equaliser came, or the winner came. I can't remember what it was, and we're sitting here worried about this Everton side coming and turning us over at home. It's actually mad to me. Think like that's the state of play at our football club at the moment. We're not confident about getting points against anyone apart from a Leeds United. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I don't. But against
we should be expecting this Everton team, to come to Tottenham, and we should be expecting to roll this team over. Easy does it.
Well, considering our form in the last 15 games has been win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. We're now just off a loss, so maybe we can expect a win. maybe that's our best bet. But look, you've got to respect what Everton have got. As much as they're on a terrible run of form, they do have good players. And I know Southampton and Newcastle have been able to deal with them, but they're on better form than us. And we're a bit low on confidence at the moment. and we're struggling for solutions when teams are posing problems, especially by clogging up the central areas. And if they clog up the central areas with Decore and Alan, and Van den Beek, I see trouble.
Yeah,
I see trouble. How can you not? If we play with a 3-4-3 and we get outnumbered yet again in the central midfield, right? Is our back line going to be like? I don't think they're the best attacking team, Everton. I think except for Richarlison, if Calvert-Lewin's not going to play, we can probably deal with them. But do I back us to be able to break Everton down with that kind of solidity they're going to have in central areas when we are lacking in quality in the wide areas? And then are they going to have a moment or two with Richarlison and Van der Beek when they break forward to open us up and get a chance or two? And if they take one of those chances, are we in trouble? That's what I'm worried about.
Would you consider any sort of formation shift in this game?
I don't know if we can. If we can, then yeah.
Maybe like a 4 at the back.
Thing is, we've been playing 3 at the back all season, haven't we?
Yeah, I'm saying regardless of that, I'm saying if you were the manager, would you consider that?
Yeah, I would. I think in this kind of game, especially like against Wolves, we saw that once we moved to 4 at the back, we had a lot more control. As soon as we moved to 4 at the back against Middlesbrough, we all of a sudden looked creative and looked like we can hurt them.
But we also looked very open.
We did look very open. But then that's a cup tie, isn't it, the last 10 minutes? But we definitely, we created more in those 10 minutes than we did in the whole game. It's true, we did look open. And maybe that means we need
Conte hates
Reguilon back in the team. On the left back.
Yeah, I would definitely start Reguilon this weekend. I really would. It's just about time he gets back into this team. He hasn't played in ages, Reguilon.
Thing is he going to stick with Sessegnon, though?
I don't think he is. I think Reguilon comes back into this team. I think if Sessegnon had a really strong performance in this game against Middlesbrough, then I think Sessegnon probably would be a shoo-in for this game. But Sessegnon wasn't that great against Middlesbrough, unfortunately. And I think
in the last Prem game, he was good.
Yeah, he was. But against Middlesbrough, we're out of the cup now, and that was a massive game for us. And I think that will still play on Antonio's mind. And I think Reguilon deserves to come back in now. I genuinely believe that.
The thing is, for me, I would love to play a 3-5-2. I think that would probably be the best formation to play. Maybe we can. Maybe we can play a 3-4-1-2 with Kulu more in central than out wide. Maybe that's what we'll do. But then it puts a lot of defensive responsibility on him, and it also has to make sure he's up for the battle with Decore and Alan.
I think he is. But those are two very physical central midfielders. Obviously.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think Kulu, coupled with either one of Winks or Bentancur and Højbjerg, I think they would be up for the battle there. And I think it's going to be a lot more beneficial for us to have Kulu in the mix there than not. You know what I mean? Instead of just those two in the middle.
But maybe he thinks he can find better space out wide. I don't know. Like it's difficult, or more like a right central area. It's going to be difficult to tactically. I just think if we play 3-4-3 against those 3 midfielders, especially with Van den Beek being one of them, because he can dictate things from a passing point of view and a bit of dribbling as well. And then obviously you've got Decore, who's like the driving force, and then you've got Alan, who's going to be sitting and just mopping everything up. I can see it being very difficult for Winks and Højbjerg to deal with that. Very difficult if it's them two. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. In terms of the Everton players that could potentially hurt us, the ones to watch we've picked out are Richarlison and Anthony Gordon. And Richarlison's a bit hot and cold this season. I mean, only 5 goals and 3 assists this season. Not such a great return. I feel like with Richarlison, he's a bit of a... It's a bit like when Hazard would have an off year or something. Like he can always pull it out. He can always just pull it out any time. But I feel like this season, I remember at the beginning of the season, or it was the beginning of last season, he was saying how Ancelotti convinced him to stay because they're saying we're going to get back in the Champions League and everything. And look, Richarlison's a very ambitious player, and he was subject to an £80 million bid from Barcelona, wasn't he? Like a year ago. Yeah. Like this is a guy who was a hot property, and I feel like the fact that Everton have just been so bad, like over the past few years, I feel like he's maybe lost that motivation to be that top player, and he needs a move to reinvigorate him. That's what I feel like with Richarlison.
Didn't he make these comments a few days ago saying he wants to stay at Everton for a while to get back into the Champions League? Didn't he say that a couple of days ago?
Did he?
I think he did. Or maybe it was someone else. I can't remember. I thought it was Richarlison.
Well, back in the Champions League from 2005.
Or in the Champions League. He thinks he can get into the Champions League with Everton. Maybe Lampard's got him on side.
I doubt he said that a few days ago. Really? Maybe he did. I don't know. I didn't see the quotes. I could be standing corrected, but I feel like Richarlison is desperate for a move. That's what I would feel like. I think he nearly left a year ago under Ancelotti. I think in the summer he was convinced to stay, but now they're languishing in a relegation battle. That's not where he wants to be. And you got to think of, like, you know, Harry Kane wanting to leave Tottenham because they're not challenging Champions League. Imagine Richarlison in a relegation battle. He's much better than that. He could walk in. He can get into a lot of the top 6 teams. 100%. I would love him at Tottenham. I think he's a quality player. And I just think at the moment he's having a bit of an off season, because I feel like that first of all, it's a bit like Kane at the beginning of this season. Not only is he not motivated, but also all the pressure's on him, because Calvert-Lewin's been injured for a lot of the season. Yeah. So literally all the focus is on him. And that's a lot. Sometimes it's too much to carry at any one time. And I think it was the beginning of the season with Kane before Conte came in. And I think with Richarlison, he can't do everything. He's not a Superman. And if he's going to be on top of his game, he needs to be fully motivated and challenging for at least for a European spot. But to be in a relegation battle, but that's also part of the problem. The fact that they're now in a relegation battle, like, that could give him the motivation to up his game as well, because he obviously don't want to get relegated.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's definitely a dangerous player, and the other player that we picked out in Anthony Gordon, I've been really impressed with him this season. I think he's come on quite well. Obviously a young British player coming through the ranks there at Everton, and you know, he works hard. He's got grit. He's got good end product as well. He's a player that could definitely hurt us this weekend if we're not careful, isn't he?
Yeah, he's done well for especially since Lampard's come in. He's played a lot of football. And he's a teenager. He's starting to get a lot of football. I think he played a few games last year as well, but now he's a fixture in the first team. He can play on either wing. He's tricky. But I feel like he's one of those players who is not like the most skillful or has the most quality, but he gets in a lot of situations just because of his hard work and his never say die attitude. Like I'm trying to compare him to someone. I'm trying to think who to compare him to in that position, but he's one of those players who's like a rash. You can't get him away. He's always running at 100 miles an hour. Yeah. And he's got that youthful exuberance of being a youth team player breaking into the team.
He's like a more advanced Brian Hill kind of thing. Like a better version of Brian Hill, more suited to.
I think Brian Hill has more quality than him, to be honest.
No, I'm not talking about the quality, but I'm talking about the way they play their football. And when I say more advanced, I mean more physically advanced for the Premier League, not more advanced as a footballer.
Yeah, potentially. I just think I think he's doing well. I don't think he's particularly an amazing footballer. I really don't, and I'm not from what I've seen. I don't see him as a player who's going to become a Premier League star. I just generally don't see that. I do see a player who's doing really well for a team breaking into the first team as a youth product, and he's making fullbacks think all the time. He's running at them. He's always closing players down. He's running all over the place. But whether that will level out, like when he gets to his early 20s and people start working him out and stuff, I don't know.
The thing is about Gordon, right? He's a very, very hard worker. And when you come up against a team like Tottenham and you work very hard, you can bear the fruits of that labour and you can get something good at the end of it.
That's what I'm worried about.
So that's the problem. And not only that problem, but you got problems like Dele Alli. You got problems like Andros Townsend. Andros Townsend always tries to get one over on Tottenham. He's always got a point to prove again. Maybe he doesn't, prove that point from time to time against Tottenham when he plays against us, but he's always out there to prove that point. And I feel like that's exactly going to be the feeling for Dele Alli as well. He's going to want to prove a point against us Monday night, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing. If Dele wants to turn up, he can sometime, and we know the quality he has. Dele's one of those players where we've known it for how long that he could be terrible for 80 minutes or 85 minutes and turn up with a bit of magic and win you the game. And I'm worried that if the game is close and they bring Dele Alli on with 15 minutes to go, that he can just turn up with something
100%.
and there's nothing we can do about it. Like 100%. He can flick something and volley it over 30 yards and we'll be sitting here on all the defeat because that's just a moment of magic you can't do anything about. And that does worry me.
I've had visions of this game, right? Visions of the Tottenham fans welcoming Dele Alli back to the stadium, singing, "Oh, we got Ali," and him scoring the winner against us, and then him getting booed off the pitch. That's my vision, and I think it's pretty likely, to be honest. You could just see it happening, can't you?
I don't know if it's likely, but it's possible.
You see Dele Alli scoring the winner on Monday night, can't you?
It's written. It's definitely written, especially all the troubles we've had with him the past few years. I don't think he started life, to be honest, particularly well at Everton.
Yeah, has he started yet for them? I think he's only had sub appearances, or maybe started one game.
Yeah, I can't think of any games he started. I don't think he's had a particularly great start, but no better way to turn that around than at Tottenham, is there?
He started one game in the defeat to Newcastle, where he got taken off on the hour mark.
No, he didn't even start that game. He came on. He came on in the first half.
What, and then went off? Oh, he came on late in the right. So I mean, these two players are definitely going to be wanting to prove a point against us this weekend. So how do you see the game going? What's your score prediction?
My head is telling me we're going to drop points. You know what my head's telling me? My head is telling me that United and Arsenal are both going to drop points, and we're going to have an opportunity on Monday night and screw it up. That is what my head is telling me. That is what I think. I actually think I've got a feeling that obviously United probably will definitely drop points against City, whether that's a draw or defeat. They're not going to win that game. I really don't believe that. And then Watford against Arsenal.
But we see United pull out these results year on year.
I don't think Ragnick will be up to it. But we'll see. I'm willing to be proved wrong. I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to get a win there. And then Arsenal against Watford, I've just got this feeling that Watford are going to get something in that game, and they're going to put, because they're also desperate. They're fighting for everything right now. And I know Arsenal are playing very well. They just got a very good win against Wolves in the last minute. Fair enough, but I feel like Watford are being very resolute and compact in a very small pitch under Roy Hodgson. And that could be very difficult for Arsenal. I've just got a feeling they could turn up in that game. And if they do, it could give an opportunity for us on Sunday to make up the points. On Monday, sorry. And I've got a feeling that we'll mess it up. We'll get like a draw or a late defeat. I want to say we're going to win 2-1. But I've just got, if we do play 3-4-3 up against Decore, Allen and Van den Beek, I see us struggling. And that's the problem. I don't know how to reconcile that. I don't know, because I don't think we're going to play 3-5-2. The only way I'm hoping is if maybe we do play 3-4-3 with Bentancur there, and maybe we do how we did against City, and we can make up for it in other ways. But I think if Winks is in there, I see us struggling. But saying that, I'm going to go 2-1.
2-1 Spurs. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you in terms of the head predictions, but I'm going to go firmly with the heart today. I just need to have some sort of positivity and some confidence in me going into this game. We're playing 17th in the league. We have to go into this game thinking that we're going to win it. So I'm going to go 1-0 Spurs.
1-0.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 Spurs. So that is our match preview. Our predictions, I'm going 1-0 Spurs. My brother's going 2-1 Spurs, but those are both firmly heart predictions. But that is our match preview. And